Shaka, you also said that you're not too concerned about Alisson's injury.
I'm not concerned from...
Or it's not a deal breaker for Liverpool in this.
From the perspective that Mamardashvili, as I think we all agree, is an outstanding goalkeeper. It's just a difficult time to come in to a team like Liverpool. Given the start they had to the season, now all of a sudden they've lost their last two, and I know Mamardashvili came off the bench in the last game, but now you're making your first start on the back of two successive losses. That's not ideal from a new player perspective coming in, when maybe the defense are looking at each other, asking question marks. You want some consistency there. That being said, you sign a goalkeeper of his quality for exactly this reason, that he can come in and be a seamless replacement to Alisson. I will say, while I agree with everything that Stevie said about this game, I don't share his confidence in that, on paper, arguably so far this season, Liverpool have been better than everybody they played. Their performances have said otherwise. And you saw that coming to a head again over the last couple of games. And now this is a big moment for Arne Slot. And maybe the injury to Ekitike kind of forces him to play, well, quite clearly Isaac. And all of a sudden you find that settled starting 11 that maybe he'd been questioning all season long, because while they've been winning, again, they've not been playing great. So that can serve as maybe a little bit of an opportunity for Arne Slot. I agree with Stevie. While we're talking about a Liverpool team that's lost their last two, Chelsea have lost their last two in the league, have injury problems of their own, and truth be told, simply on paper, don't have the fireworks firepower that Liverpool has.
Well, as we said, Liverpool have lost the last two, one in the league to Crystal Palace, and then, of course, in the Champions League, where we most saw recently, to Galatasaray. Stevie, you did say that, the goals can come from anywhere for Liverpool. We know the firepower that they have, but they did fail to score against Galatasaray. Looking at this 11, what needs to change for this weekend?
Well, I think they need to get Szoboszlai out of there and back in the middle of the park. For me, it should be Bradley at right back. And right now, the way Kerkez is performing, I'd probably put Andy Robertson back in there.
Oh, I love that.
And looking at that, that looks like a team that's more in tune with each other. The guts of that team, if those changes were made, looks a lot similar to what it was last year. And now what you're looking for is the front players to catch fire. So if I'm Slot, I'm making those changes. I go back to the tried and trusted, away from home at Chelsea, get yourself a solid base and then go from there. And then hopefully you get the ball to the front players and they catch fire. So that to me would be the way I would go about it. However, I'm not Liverpool manager.
Wow.
No, but you are.
Sadly not.
You are.
Sadly not.
Sadly not. But what about... What would you do? It's a question we've asked you a number of times, but specifically for this match now and what we've seen recently. What do you do with Florian Wirtz? Do you move him to the left? Do you bench him?
If he plays, I think you move him to the left. Personally, right now, I would sit him.
Would you play?
I would leave Gakpo on the left, Salah on the right, and Isak right through the pipe. As I said, tried and trusted. You know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
Allegedly, you're assuming you know what you're going to get, because this team that I'm talking about knows each other inside out. We're not going to be thinking, well, every second you take to think about what you have to do with the player that's standing next to you, that gives the opposition a chance to get at you. And
on Liverpool. Drogba. Oh, what a finish that is! Goes for goal and finds it! And Torres! Meetings between the two sets of players have been frequent, significant, and sometimes ill-tempered. Salah! Oh, wow! Oh! Eden Hazard scores!
This fixture is a Premier League staple, a match that's moulded title destinies and graced European semi-finals. A heavyweight clash between two of the league's big hitters.
What a game we have in store, especially when you consider, Owen, that Liverpool are in uncharted territory so far this season. Back-to-back defeats, and now they have to bounce back.
Yeah, and to be fair, they were coming. I think in every game they won late, and not even late, like passed Fergie late. Late. So then the Szoboszlai one against us, I think that was in the 82nd minute. The rest of them were like 90 plus with incredible winners. So defensively, the balance isn't there. The shape isn't there. Obviously, they're trying to integrate all these players, Isak and Wirtz, who are amazing players. But I just think the balance isn't there and they're not the same defensively. So I think Arne Slot will go back to tried and tested from last season. That midfield of Gravenberch, McAllister, Szoboszlai, and go back to being defensively solid. Obviously, Konata's made a couple of mistakes lately after such a brilliant season last season. So, but Chelsea are, they're not at their absolute best. I was at the bridge on Tuesday. They didn't play brilliant against Jose Mourinho's Benfica. So this is a huge game for both teams.
Yeah, well, since we have an official Defenders Union rep here with us on the couch, let's get Charlie's thoughts on Liverpool's defence. And as we look at some of the goals that they've conceded so far this season.
Yeah, it's been a little bit, I say a little bit stop-start with Liverpool this season. And say Konate's had a couple of moments. There's some great finish from Semenyo. I think Konate's probably the one that everyone's looked at. And their fullbacks have changed as well, which I think has been a big thing. Kirkhead's coming in from Bournemouth. Frimpong coming in from Leverkusen, I think it is, and they haven't really settled, I think, this season. And I think it will take time, as much as you want things to click straight away. I think it will take time, but once it does, they are going to be a threat. And listen, the firepower that they have is a match for anyone. That's why they won the league last season.
Yeah, toughest period for Arne Slot right now. You mentioned Florian Wirtz. I think he's come under a lot of fire recently, as you mentioned, upsetting the balance. If you're Slot, do you drop him?
I don't think he'll play. Just because he's a fantastic player and he's going to come good. Don't worry about that. But I just think right now they've got to get back to being defensively strong. You look at some of those goals they've conceded, the balance in midfield's not there. And when you try and integrate new players, especially ball players like Wirtz, it takes a bit of adjustment. So... yeah, I mean, if it wasn't for Alisson, they would have conceded 6 against Palace. I mean, they were so outplayed in the first half. It was actually unbelievable. So I think he'll go back to tried and tested from last season, where they were brilliant defensively. Yeah. And then he'll end up playing. He'll integrate Wirtz and he'll integrate Isak. But when you think about Ekitike, who's a fabulous player. Charlie made a good point about the 2 new fullbacks. So there's a lot of change there, and I think it's maybe a little bit too much even for the champions.
Yeah, you mentioned Addison now; he's out as well with that injury.
Yeah, but to be fair, they probably have the best reserve keeper in Mamardashvili, who's absolutely immense. So that was a steal at that money a couple of years ago from Valencia, and so he'll come in. Obviously Alisson's the best in the league, but I think Mamardashvili won't cause any issues.
Obviously, the mentality of champions, we know what they did last season, but with all the changes, as you mentioned a few times now, the balance of the squad going to Stamford Bridge, where do you think they'll be at? 2 defeats in a week?
Yeah, I think they'll be licking their lips really, and just trying to get back to winning ways, and as like Owen says, I think they're trying to find, and Arne Slot's probably trying to find the right formula to get that win again and get back on track, however that is. But I do agree it's bringing the new people in and embedding them, it might just take a bit more time than what he was expecting.
Yeah. We're just thinking about Liverpool and, the plans for this weekend, as I mentioned, some of the changes, some of the big calls that Arne Slot has to make this weekend. And he actually spoke about Liverpool's lack of open play goals so far this season. Let's hear from him.
We don't score as many open play goals anymore as we did the first part of last season. And this is something we work on very hard. And the more we will play together in the new setup, the better.
Okay, what about from Chelsea's point of view? Do they have a disciplinary problem? 3 red cards in the last 4 games.
Yeah, well, you would say yes, I think, off the bat of it. I think if you isolate all the red cards, I think that you'd say no. I think the Sanchez one, if we're talking about that one, was a bit of a rush of blood, and he's tried to nip in front and try and get there before Buemo. So it's that kind of, if you isolate them all, I'd say no. But it's something that they probably would have spoke about and would definitely think about. So I think Maresca's, again, has got a big decision to make now in terms of who plays and how he's going to set up his team against Liverpool.
Yeah, a couple of concerns, especially if we're talking defences in the Chelsea defence, because now they don't have Chalobah, but Badia Shields back for from injury.
Yeah, to be fair, he played all right on Tuesday. I mean, but to be fair, they're just mistakes. They've made mistakes in the build-up where they're trying to play. They spent a fortune on the whole team, and they probably prioritise the top of the pitch. But actually, the goalkeeper and the centre backs are probably the most important positions in any team, and they're too young. And the reason they're making mistakes is because the lack of experience. I think they need somebody in there with a bit of experience to help these young guys. That attacking-wise, that's one of the best groups of players put together anywhere. But I do think the only way you can win, the Champions League and the Premier League is with a world-class goalkeeper. And you think back to that was great Chelsea team, John Terry, Carvalho, Ivanovic. They have world-class players in that position. I think until they can have a steady base in the goalkeeper and two centre-backs, I think it could be tough for Chelsea.
Do you think they have a discipline problem?
Says, yeah. but in the end, young guys are going to make mistakes. They play a really aggressive style of football. Andre Santos plays a poor ball back and it puts Chalobah in a world of trouble. The Sanchez one, he's just got to stay in his goal rather than and run out. And the João Pedro one on Tuesday was, probably wasn't a red. But 3 reds in a row is no good. The lads don't have any excuses. They just got to stop making mistakes.
Okay, so I've got both of your opinions now on whether Chelsea have a discipline problem given their red cards recently. Here is the Chelsea manager talking about their run of red cards.
I think most of the game where we didn't get the points is because they were game very complicated for us in terms of, again, unfortunately, red card. But no doubt that also the injury situation. We have in this moment, I think, 8 players out. So it's a mix of combination, but we don't have any doubt that slowly we're going to be again where we need to be.
Just 2 wins in 6 at the start of the season. How much pressure is he under, do you think?
I think it's building. To be honest, I think the longer it goes on, the more it's going to build. Say the money they've spent over the years should define that they should be up there, but say the injuries and the disciplinary problems that he's had, it makes it hard for Maresca to actually pick a squad for what he has, and hopefully for Chelsea's sake they need to start picking up points and picking up wins.
Yeah, no, he has a brilliant squad of players, and when they come back, you think about Colwill, Fofana. It's an exceptional group. Obviously, Lavia, I think, is another player that can help improve that team. I think the squad's good, but I think he's going to need those centre backs to come back to fix it. Like Cole Palmer, they need him. He's one of the best in the league when he's fit and healthy. I love the top of the pitch. I'm just a little bit worried about the other side of the pitch for Chelsea.
Use Alisson, Hugo Ekitike and Federico Chiesa as well.
Yeah, Alisson is not part of the squad tomorrow, and he's not going to travel to Brussels as well for the national team. So he will be out for Saturday. Hugo is going to train today again, and let's see where he is. And the same can be said for Federico. So we have to wait and see after the session where they exactly are.
Any idea on the timescale for Alisson, just how serious the hamstring injury is?
Yeah, that depends also on how fast a recovery goes. So it's clear that he's not there Saturday. It's clear that he's not going to play for Brazil, and I would be surprised if he would be there in the first game after the international break. But from there on, sometimes things can go a bit faster or a bit slower. So it's always difficult to say the amount of days and weeks, but. For the upcoming games, he will not be part of us or the Brazil team.
I suppose what it does mean, though, as well, is it gives Maradashvili an opportunity and the potential this weekend for his Premier League debut. Just tell us what kind of an impression he's made on you, what kind of a level you see him at.
I think we've seen against Southampton how well he's adjusted. We knew that we were bringing in a very good goalkeeper, but when he plays his first game, that's always the best way of seeing that he's adjusted well or not. And I think we've seen in that game that he's adjusted really well to our club, which is not a surprise because he's a quality goalkeeper, and now he can do what Cruyff had to do so many times in the past, replacing Alisson, hopefully in a way like Cruyff did so many times before.
Just with Ali, is there a concern again that it's a hamstring?
Why?
Because it just seems to be a similar kind of injury, is it? Or is it a similar kind of injury to the ones that he's had last season?
I'm not a... 1 minute later, in the other 18-yard box, a player feels this, goes to the ground as if it was the worst hit he ever had, and the referee gives a penalty. Again, this can happen, and we should be better than that. That it doesn't matter if you are luck, bad luck, or smart or not smart. If you score a set-piece goal or you concede two, like against Palace. By the way, if we would have had the referee that we had against Galatasaray, we wouldn't have lost against Palace after 8 minutes. But again, that has nothing to do with the current results. We need to do better. And that's why we are what we are trying.
Tell us then, as we sign off for this kind of section of games into another international break, how do you reflect on those first few weeks? Are your team where you thought they'd be in terms of performance and points?
I think we start very, very well in terms of results and performance. The first 4 or 5 games, and then probably the rest of the game we didn't get the points that we want for sure, but we already analyzed the reason why. Again, I think most of the game where we didn't get the points is because they were game very complicated for us in terms of, again, unfortunately, red card. But no doubt that also the injury situation, we have in this moment I think 8 players out. So it's a mix of combination, but we don't have any doubt that slowly we're gonna be again where we need to be.
And I know that you've spoken a lot about discipline. 25 yellows and 3 reds, I think, in your 9 games. And I remember speaking to Mikel Arteta about it, and he said actually he chose not to speak too closely to his players about it because it almost becomes more of a thing. What's your approach with your players in terms of crossing that line? Because as you said, it's costing you games.
Yeah, you have to analyze case for case. When it's a red card for bad intention or for bad discipline, it's different compared to Man United red card or Brighton red card. In that case, it's just the decision that you have to take in 2 seconds, 3 seconds. Do I do foul or not? It's difficult. So we analyze case for case. Again, I don't see any discipline problem, even if we consider I think 3-4 red card. That is not something normal. But again, it's for different reason.
You've talked a lot over the past few weeks about solving problems and conundrums that you've got with so many players out. How do you approach putting together a defensive unit for the weekends against a side that maybe hasn't hit the heights we expect? But what sort of players are you thinking? Are you thinking outside of the box? Are you just going to have to trust some of those youngsters in your squad on Saturday afternoon?
No, but I think it's a fact that I really trust the young players, not just the young players that we buy, also the young players from the academy. Again, we give games last year to Josh Achipong, having players on the bench, senior players, so that shows that I trust young players. The same thing happened with Tai. So I really trust all the players we have. As you said, in this moment we have I think 4 or 5 defenders out, but we're gonna try to adapt and find the right solution for tomorrow game.
champions, but they also have a couple of cracks in their armor as well. So this could be a very interesting match. Are saying that Liverpool just slight favorites in this one, but still some concerns for the Reds after suffering 2 major injuries midweek in the Champions League to Alisson and Hugo Ekitike. Now, Ekitike may not be 100%, so that could mean another chance for Alexander Isak to start. So here's Arne Slot talking about him.
I said to him when he started, the difficult thing will be you will have your appearances, like you just said, but if you add the minutes together, he probably only had 2 or 3 90-minute games. But yeah, that is what we inherited from the situation of him not being with the team in Newcastle. And we knew this before, so it's not an excuse. He already scored a goal. He gets fitter and fitter, but the main thing, he needs to adjust to his teammates, and the teammates need to adjust to him. And the more you play together, the better things will work.
Let's welcome in the other member of our team today, Jan Åge Fjørtoft. Jan, always good to have you. But Stevie, you know I'm going to start with you for this one. As I mentioned, 2 injuries for Liverpool, a long-term one for Alisson. Hugo Ekitike, we're waiting to see exactly what his fitness is, but it's likely that he could start on the bench. How concerned are you for Liverpool in this game?
I'm not concerned at all. You know,
wow, okay.
There's a reason why Liverpool bought Mamardashvili for this particular situation, and he's one of the best goalkeepers in Europe, in my opinion. So I don't have a problem with that. And the fact that Ekitike might not be 100% fit, or even not fit at all, guess what? You're bringing Alexander Isak in, and that's a problem. I don't see it as a problem. The only problem I see for Liverpool is if they can get together on the field in terms of the passing, their movement and connecting passes and not giving the ball away. That's the only thing that I want Liverpool to do at the weekend. Because talent-wise, I think the street's ahead of Chelsea. And so they have to just be in tune with each other. And if Liverpool do that, they've got goal scorers all around the field, in my opinion, that Chelsea just don't have. I think you look past João Pedro, I ask, where's the goals coming from? There's no Cole Palmer. Every which way you look at this, I see Liverpool as favourites. But that is, of course, if they get in tune with each other and don't cough the ball up. That's it. Those 2 things. If Liverpool get it right, then it's a Liverpool victory.
Wow, this is the first time, I think, all season that I've seen Stevie this confident about Liverpool going into a game. And I never thought, Jan, that it would come after Liverpool have lost back-to-back games. Now, should Stevie have a bit more concern over his Reds?
Hello from London. I'm at the game tomorrow at Stamford Bridge, so I look forward to that. I understand what Stevie is saying. If you take 1-1, if Ekitike out, you get another striker in. He's not bad either, Alexander Isak. Alisson Becker, for me, maybe the best goalkeeper in the world. He's out, but Mamardashvili is just in to do that. I mean, they saw over the last 2 seasons, Alisson Becker, I think, missed 20 games over the 2 last seasons, so you needed a good number 2. So that I understand. What I think what Slot is talking about, Alexander Isak, you have to adjust to your teammates. I think that is the big problem at Liverpool at the moment, not only for Alexander Isak, but for the lot of players. The easiest thing is to see when we see players get injured, that is replaceable. But it's for me to see Liverpool now find a way where they play at each other's strength. It's easy to say Florian Wirtz to any problem that need to be solved at Liverpool. Konate is struggling a bit. Yeah, that's Florian Wirtz's fault. He's a bit behind Frimpong. Yeah, that's Florian Wirtz's fault. So there is a lot of things to sort out for Liverpool at the moment. I see now a team mixed up with the great individual talents. They don't find each other so good on the pitch. So 2 losses in a row, they need a result. They need a good game tomorrow.